It's Daybreak on the Rise News. Time for the press preview. A first look at what's on the front pages as they arrive. We start with this day. And it's leading with this: Atiku, Nigeria doesn't need leader who will move her from rotten to bad situation. We know where that came from. Impact with Enugu electorate and bad pledges to deliver quality people-focused governance. And multi-choice talent factory graduation ceremony.
And we take a look at the headlines in the Punch, in the Nation newspaper. I beg your pardon. Outrage over Atiku's "Don't vote for Yoruba Igbo" remark. And telecoms at active voice subscribers hit 206.4 million. Lagos leads with 753 billion naira IGR collection. And Tinubu to interact with northern leaders today.
This is the Nation newspaper. Outrage over Atiku's "Don't vote for Yoruba Igbo" remark. Did you just take that?
Yeah, just
okay. The Punch newspaper says fresh trouble hit Atiku over anti-Yoruba Igbo comment. Tinubu becomes NNPC lambast the ex-vice president over incendiary statement. Oyebanji freezes Ekiti account, warn banks, and Buhari budgets 248 billion naira for Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
And on the foreign scene, we started with the I paper. Trust faces challenge within days.
And the Financial Times. Trust fights for survival as business chiefs and plotters pile on pressure.
And the Independent, the game is up. Senior Tories calling MPs to quit.
This is the Guardian. It says Trust fights for survival as Tory rebel MPs warn that the game is up.
Let's bring in Emmanuel this morning as we get into analysis. Let's begin with the headline in the Punch. Atiku, Nigeria doesn't need leader who will move her from rotten to bad situation. And there's some comments attributed to him that didn't go down over a lot of people. Let's contemplate that for a moment.
Yeah, well, Benny, good morning. Kenneth, it's another, today is supposed to be those business, huge business stories there, but politics have taken over. And it's going to be politics all the way, so we might as well just prepare for all that we're going to be seeing, those back and forth. And actually, the Freudian slip, the kind of things that these contenders and contestants will be saying, those will make make for very good storylines, and of course, a story. And this day is leading with one of them, and it's that statement from Tinubu where some people say it's a slip of tongue, where he said the country has moved from rotten to bad. Over the weekend, everybody had a field day with that. Those who do not like the APC government and do not trust this particular candidate say that, look, it wasn't a slip of tongue, that he was saying his mind, and that is true. It's actually a true picture of what has happened in this country, that things have gotten so bad, and that the candidate who was speaking spoke unconsciously about that. But he was not the only one that had a slip at the weekend, as other papers also reporting what Atiku said. It's really taken to look as if it's been taken out of context, where he said the North should actually look towards the Northern vote to a Northern, and that's the kind of person they need. Of course, the Nation newspaper, The Punch, is really running with that. This day, taking it a much more balanced kind of reporting that this day is doing, looking at all that everyone has said, both what the APC candidate said and what the PDP said. That's good journalism, that's good reporting, that's being balanced, that's being fair to both sides, because they all had those gaps and slips the weekend, and that both sides are trying to get around it. I think the Atiku people have been trying to explain those statements. They said, look, he didn't mean it in that way. He said he was speaking to an audience. He started by looking straight to Hakim Baba Ahmed and saying, look, Mr. Northerner. So I think what they were trying to do is to say, what he was trying to do was to talk to that audience, to say, look, you are Northerners, you need someone like me. But, going off the rail by saying you don't need a Yoruba or an Igbo, that rub off on so many people the wrong way, especially for a candidate who comes himself, the unifier, someone who is trying to see, who is worried about how, disunited this country is, and all the other issues around the Atiku persona, the fact that a lot of people think that power should move to the south. Of course, the Tinubu people took it from there and say he represents the sort of continuity that every southerner is against, and that now he's making boast of it. So they took that out. But the Atiku people also have a good day running around with the issue of Tinubu saying that the country has gone from rotten to bad. A lot of people saying that that is an indictment, that is an own goal, if you wish. I'm sure Beniak lost football. That's an own goal on his own, saying that the country has moved from rotting to bad. And then he said that while he was talking to an APC governor in Kaduna, and Kaduna today, of course, will be alive with more rallies of the PDP. So it's interesting times, Kenneth. We're living in them. We're going to be seeing more of those dramas, and we're going to be reporting them. But I think the heart of this is what the This Day newspaper did, which is reporting both sides, looking at all the stories together, not playing one side up and putting the other side down, and then playing the other side.
Well, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper now, Emmanuel. ASU varsities hold emergency meetings on resumption. Schools are beginning to open. Well, some schools have called their students back to resume, back to campus rather. On the 17th, which is today.
Well, yeah, it's a relief, and I think a good one. At least schools are opening again, and don't forget those things that we keep saying here, including the kind of businesses, environment you have around those universities. That will come back to life. But speaking to someone earlier, and he's so happy that the schools are back because his little business in front of one of the universities is going to come back to life. Those are the sort of small stories around the human good of this whole resumption. We need to look at them. But of course, the challenges of even going back to school, the universities are meeting over timetables and all of that. The academic year that has been disrupted. So there's a whole lot of stories there to look at if we be on such like the crisis of resumption. You remember, it's not just people just going back to school. It's also the budgeting, it's also the crisis of their careers, it's also the fact that I'm sure some lecturers have even left. Some students, there was a joke at the weekend that some students have actually also decided not to go back to school. Some have actually traveled out. So there are those tidbits that we need to also look at as we count the cost of those 8 months strike.
Now, let's put on the flood. It's been reported that over 600 people have been killed in the floods, and in the Punch is reported that the federal government is blaming the state and local government. How do we begin to address this on a more, broader level?
Well, there's always a lot of blame to go around, and there's enough of that. But how long are we going to be talking about blames? At the end of the day, it's the role of the government, of the leadership, to protect lives and properties. These floods are not just, they are natural disasters, but they are also conscious effort that, good leadership can make, some effort to make to the damning story. But there's a story making the round at the weekend that part of this crisis was the fact that the government on the side of, on the side of Nigeria has not been very serious with the issue of damming those huge bodies of water that could actually cause this problem. Whatever it is, whether you like it or not, lives are lost, and it's a really, really sad story of the fact that there's been negligence on one side, and of course not serious thinking on the other side. No matter how you look at it, government must have some blame in this. So trading blames is not the issue here, but it's how to forestall this, how to think outside the box, look at technology, look at ways to deal with this issue in such a way that when we have them as natural disasters, we'll be able to cope with them.
In the Guardian newspaper, Emmanuel, Nigeria's hunger level serious, ranks 103 out of 121 countries. Is this bad or is it terrible?
I think it's rotten. In the words of Tinubu, it's a serious crisis. But of course, the government always come around to say, well, there's some kind of there's a global angle to all of this. But when you look at statistics like this, it's really terrible. So yes, it's bad. The prognosis are also horrible. But I think the ruling party itself recently saying that there will be more hunger ahead, that next year is going to be the year of hunger. Now that's serious. That's the party itself talking. And a lot of Nigerians don't know who else to blame for this, but for the ruling party itself, say, look, you brought us to this situation. So with Tinubu saying the sort of thing he said at the weekend, as reported in all the papers, a lot of people think that, well, the hunger that the Guardian newspaper is talking about is as a result of bad policies, bad programming. Remember that many farmers couldn't actually access their farms because of the crisis of banditry, insurgency around those farmlands. So of course there's a global dimension to this, but again there's also the crisis of bad leadership, bad thinking, and some of the things that a whole lot of Nigerians are angry about, that hunger has gone to this level, to astronomical level, to dimensions that we never even imagined in this country. The cost of living crisis that is almost unique to us as a people. So those are the things that a lot of people are going to be benchmarking this campaign on, and the opposition will really use some of these statistics like given out by the Guardian to actually say you have failed in providing the basic things that people should need. So the government will have to face up with some of those kind of real challenge in terms of its record, especially in the area of taking care of the welfare of the people.
And the nation is reporting that Tinubu, that's the presidential candidate of the All Progressives People's Congress, is to interact with northern leaders today. I mean, any inkling to what this might entail, what to expect?
Well, yeah, I think it's also his own way of, he's speaking and choosing the kind of occasions to go to. His campaign has said that that's the way he's going to work. He's going to choose the kind of, the events to attend, and he's attending this one. And it's going to, probably is going to make a case for himself. But, this election is actually going down the wires, especially the issue of region, where the fault lines are so clearly defined. The candidates themselves actually look like regional champions, though some of them trying to say, look, no, we're crisscrossing against the region. But, Tinubu in the past have actually said it was like a Milokon, which is in Yoruba, it means, look, it's our turn, it's the turn of the Yoruba people, with Atiku on the other hand, the other day, yesterday, saying to the Northerners that, look, the North needs someone like him, a Northerner. So it looks as if the regions are going to be featuring very well. But what they're also trying to do is to cut across. Atiku himself, for instance, defending himself that, look, he's a pan-Nigerian, he loves all sides, he's been around the Igbos, he's been around the Yorubas. He's been saying that. Tinubu, of course, with this meeting, will talk to the North. I suspect that he will tell Northerners that, look, I am for you people, I represent you. Kwankwaso already saying that, look, he's not going to attend those kind of meetings, that he thinks there's a plan by the North to endorse a candidate. He's making such a strong charge. And if that's true, that the North is going to, pick someone around the issue of northerners, then you know that we are going to go into an election that is really, really tied with the regions and with these ethnic divisions.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel Bello. That's the press preview this morning. Let's hear your view on all the burning issues. Follow us on Twitter at Arise TV. You can join today's conversation using the hashtag AriseDaybreak.